want you to come on roam kayaking trips. So we made this little intro video so that you are up to speed and can come on all the kayaking trips you want. I'm Zeva, this is
Olivia.
And I'm Charlie.
First things first, to go on any kayaking trip, or rafting trip for that matter, you need a swim test. The swim test is a standard Scouting America requirement. If you need a swim test, please reach out and we will help you get one completed. On kayaking trips, we need to take care of ourselves and stay safe. Here are a few essentials.
Water. Stay hydrated.
Food. Stay filled.
Insulation. Stay warm.
Warm hats, because they're fun.
Sun protection. Sun hat.
Extra sun protection. Actual sunscreen.
And most importantly, Paul, utility chicken.
This is a kayak. We're gonna go around and talk about the parts of the boat.
Okay, Zeva, which part is the bow?
The bow is over here. It's the front of the boat.
And which part is the stern?
The stern is all the way on the other end at the back of the boat.
What about the deck?
The deck is this whole lovely thing that spans the entire kayak on top.
And the hull?
The hull is the bottom part of the boat.
And the keel?
The keel is the little seam here on the bottom of the boat that runs all the way down to the stern.
What about the cockpit?
The cockpit is where you sit. So you're gonna be sitting right in here where the cockpit is.
And this thing?
This is the seat. Your fat goes here.
What is the thigh braces?
The thigh braces are these things here in the cockpit where you put your thighs and brace against the kayak.
What about the coaming?
The coaming is the part around the cockpit where your brace skirt is gonna attach to.
And the deck line?
The deck line are these things. Notice that they're not bungees, so they're very firm lines and they're good to grab onto. The bungees are the little bungee things. Yep, those are bungees too.
A bulkhead.
There are two bulkheads in this kayak. One bulkhead is about here. The other one is at the front. If they're sealed properly, they keep the boat afloat even when the cockpit is full of water. It also helps create the hatch where all your stuff goes. We have the hatch cover that is over the hatch. They're usually attached to the boat so that you don't lose the hatch cover when you're trying to put your gear in your hatch.
The next thing is the carry handle.
The carry handle. This boat has two, one at the bow and one at the stern. Most boats have two as well, but they can look different than these ones.
But Zeva, what is the rudder?
The rudder is this thing in the back. It helps you steer along with the foot pedals, which are explained later in this video. This goes in the water. It helps you change direction.
Wait, stop! You forgot the most important part. This is Paulina, the perfect asset to any kayaking trip.
Depending on the temperature, we may be kayaking in our normal clothes, in a wetsuit, or in a dry suit. In a wetsuit, you do not wear many layers underneath because the thin layer of water in there will keep you warm. And a dry suit is for even colder temperatures because you can wear as many layers as you want underneath and they will all stay dry. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to put on a dry suit. A dry suit is a piece of technical, expensive equipment that we need to be really careful when using. First things first, you need to be careful that these socks don't touch the ground. They are fragile and easily get holes in them, but we need them not to have holes so that your feet stay dry. First, you want to take off your shoes and make sure you are sitting on a surface that is not the ground. With kayaking, you will have an IKEA bag, so it's a great surface to stand on. Next, so that you're not trying to balance, you want to sit down on a surface, maybe a bench or something, and then put on the dry suit. Feet first. And then you can stand up, making sure to stay off of the ground and on your IKEA bag. And then pull up the dry suit. You look like a lovely fashion icon in these. They're very wonderful. Once you've got the dry suit up, you can cinch the waist here so that it stays on your lower body. Once you have the bottoms on, it's good to put on what you're gonna be wearing on your feet. Sometimes they'll be wetsuit booties, sometimes they'll be old tennis shoes. You wanna put them on to make sure you protect the socks of the dry suit. I accidentally grabbed 2 right foot booties, so just make sure that when you're grabbing your booties, you have a right foot and a left foot. Now with the other right foot, certainly feels strange. Next, you're gonna start with the arms. So you're gonna put your arms in, and with the gaskets here, these rubber parts, they're tight. So you wanna make sure that you hold your hand as small as it can go and slowly work the wrist gasket down your hand without excessively pulling it. After you get the wrist gaskets on, it's time for the neck gasket. Make sure that when you're putting on the neck gasket, you don't have any pointy parts that can catch on the neck gasket and possibly create a tear. I'm gonna take off my glasses. And then if it's easier for you, you can put something over your hair, like a swim cap or something to contain it, but I'm just gonna put this on without that. What you wanna do when putting on a neck gasket is you get it over your head and then you reach in from the inside and help wiggle it down your head, watching out for any jewelry. The important part is that you don't pull too much from the outside of the dry suit. There we go. Now it's on. Next, you want to zip up the dry suit. These zippers can be tough, so while you can do it on your own, it's good to have a buddy to help you, and then you can also make sure that you're gentle on the zippers. Can I have some help? Thank you. What you want to make sure is that the zipper is all the way closed. So it's going all the way to the little line here. Sometimes people will have it open just a little bit and the water can get in and defeats the purpose of the dry suit. You want to make sure that's the same for the butt zipper, or on other dry suits there will be a front zipper. Final thing to have your dry suit on and ready is to get all the air out. You can see if I squat down, there's a lot of air in here that's gonna prevent movement and stuff. So what you do is you squat down and then you take the neck gasket and release it from your neck so that there's a gap for the air to come out, and then squeeze yourself as small as possible. And then you have a nice little vacuum sealed dry suit and you can start going on a fashion walk. Next thing you're gonna put on is a spray skirt. You can either step through it from the top or you can go from the bottom. And there are 2 little overall straps that go over your shoulders. And then the spray skirt comes down and cinches around your ribs. And it keeps the water out when you attach it to the coaming of the boat. Next, you want to put on your life jacket. Want to make sure that you get this bottom buckle first and then zip up the zipper, and then you need to make sure it's tight. A lot of times you can't hold these by yourself because you have no leverage, so it's helpful to have a buddy come tighten them for you. Yes. There we go. That is good. And then you're ready, right? Charlie, why are you doing this?
We have to make sure that the straps can't go up above your ears, because if they do, then it might not keep your head above water if you fall in.
I suppose that makes sense. To have a comfortable paddle, you're going to want to fit the boat to your body. The first thing you do is adjust the seat. This is a very worthwhile adjustment to make because it can make a huge difference, especially on a long paddle. All boats have a different way of adjustment, so make sure you know how your boat works before you get into it. Second thing you need to do is adjust your foot pedals. No matter the boat or where you're sitting in the boat, your cockpit will always have foot pedals. Sometimes they will be to control the rudder, or other times they will just be there. All boats will have a different form of adjusting their foot pedals, but for example, this boat has this foot pedal, and there's one on the other side as well. You need to make sure that you have enough people to get your boat safely to the water. When we have our loaded doubles, 6 people or more are necessary, but here we have an unloaded single, so 2 people works. Olivia, how do I carry my boat?
Well, if you want to do it safely, you're gonna have to use your legs more than your back, hopefully. So are we ready? On 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna carry it to where we want to go.
And then to put the kayak down, you go down, 3, 2, 1, and squat with your legs again. Next thing is we're gonna get in the boat. One method is called the balance method. You're gonna straddle both sides of the boat, walk yourself up towards your cockpit, make sure your center of gravity is low, and slowly with both hands on either side of the cockpit, ease your butt into the cockpit, and then pull your feet down into the cockpit. After that, you want to put your spray skirt on to keep you dry. You start by hooking the back of the spray skirt around the back of the kayak. Sometimes it's a little more difficult than other times. And slowly working the spray skirt up the sides of the cockpit until you have enough on to reach to the front. And then wrap it around the sides. And now you're stuck in your kayak. And dry though, which is very nice. We're gonna get out of the kayak. What you can do is you can pull on this little handle here. You pull forward and then back to release the spray skirt from around the coaming. Move your legs. Well, and then do the same thing in reverse. So you wanna push up, get your legs situated, and then slowly stand up. You can unstraddle your boat, and you're out.
There are a few standard communication tools that we can use to communicate on the water because screaming is not a really reliable way to communicate. So, Zeva, how should I ask to have people come to me and wrapped up? Yay! How would you indicate which direction to go?
We're going that way!
Woohoo! How would we tell people to stop? Because I don't know why, there's a ferry or something. Oh no, Zeva needs help!
Paulette the Protector, to the rescue!
Okay, well now I need to ask if Zeva's okay. We indicate by tapping our head.
I'm okay.
Woo! And Zeva is okay because Paul the Protector.
Now we're gonna talk about what to do with your paddle. First things first, this is the blade, this is the shaft, and then these are gaskets that catch water so it doesn't drip down onto your hands. These types of paddles, you want to make sure that the words here is readable and correctly oriented facing you. Then to get the paddle position for your hands, you're gonna put your paddle on your head and generally have your arms at a 90-degree angle. Now I'm gonna show you a few strokes and how to paddle. Imagine I'm in a kayak. What you're gonna do is instead of moving your arms, because this gets really tiring and does not give you a lot of momentum, you wanna use your entire body. So you're gonna start at the front of your boat with one paddle and use your torso to pull the paddle back. Then when you're switching, you wanna make sure that this arm and your paddle is not coming super high. So it should not be coming above your shoulder. And then you're gonna keep rotating your torso, making sure that your arms and your hands are not coming above your shoulders with each stroke. And then to do reverse strokes, you're kind of going to do the same thing, except you start in the back, move your torso forward, and then keep doing that, making sure your arms are not coming over your shoulders. The next stroke we're going to talk about is a sweep stroke. A sweep stroke is really good for turning either when you're in motion or even in place. Like maybe you left behind your chicken.
No, Paulina!
To do a sweep stroke, you're going to take your paddle and you're going to be doing a wide stroke away from your boat. This is contrast to the normal forward and reverse strokes that we just talked about, where you are close to your boat. There you go, like that. So now, we gotta go pick up our chicken.
Success!
The next helpful stroke that we can learn is the draw stroke, and it's used to move our boat sideways directly if we want to go, for example, like that way. So what I'll do is I'll reach my paddle in far out like this, and then pull it in, and then take my paddle out again, and then repeat over and over until I get where I'm going.
The final thing with the paddle that we're going to talk about is the low brace. The low brace is used to right yourself when you feel like you're tipping. To do the low brace, you have to turn your paddle sideways so that it's going to be flat against the water. And if you feel like you're tipping, you're going to smack the water and use that momentum to right yourself again. But you have to make it quick. The water only supports the smack, it doesn't actually support your paddle.
Oh dear, it looks like Zeva has capsized. We do plan for this to happen, but we never want this to happen. The first thing that we're going to do is prioritize helping Zeva be safe. And then, after we make sure Zeva is safe, following the capsize, we're going to look for the boat and the paddle and make sure we can grab those things so that way Zeva can hopefully get out of the situation to land. And then, after that, if anything has fallen out of the hatches, like gear or camping stuff or anything like that, then we can try to look for that. But people and helping people is our #1 priority.
If you do capsize, there are 2 methods to getting out of your boat. Of course, if you have capsized, you will be upside down underwater, which I cannot show you at the park. The first method is what I call the oh-crap method, because I like to call this little strap here the oh-crap strap. What you're gonna do when you're underwater is you can put your hands at your waist and follow your spray skirt and the coaming up to the top of the cockpit, grab onto the strap, and you will push the strap forward and then pull it off your kayak. To get out of your boat, you're gonna put your hands on the side of your cockpit, and some people like to visualize it as though they are taking off a pair of pants. So you're gonna push on your kayak and push out of your boat, and then with the buoyancy of your life jacket, you will pop out next to the side of your boat. The oh-crap method is the primary method, but if for some reason you can't get the strap off, another way to exit your boat is to use your knee to push up on your spray skirt. So you're just gonna push it and it will pop off, and then you will push yourself out of your boat like previously described. With roam kayaking, we will be in groups. So if you do capsize, it won't be likely that you spend a lot of time in the water, but Scouting America still wants us to teach you these positions. The first position is called the help position. It stands for heat escape lessening posture. I swear you want to scrunch yourself into as small a ball as possible and hold your legs up to your chest so that you are losing the least amount of heat possible. The second position we're going to teach you about is if you happen to be in the water with your friends and you're getting cold. It's called the huddle position, and it's basically a group hug. Huddle! We gotta make sure we keep our chicken paw warm. Poor paw.
Okay, so you've just finished your wonderful paddle and now you're beached, but even if you did everything right, there still might be a little bit of water in your kayak, which isn't great. So now we want to empty the water from the kayak, but how do we do that? Well, we're gonna have to grab a friend, and because there's a rudder here, we have to be careful so when we both lift it, the rudder doesn't touch the ground, and we're gonna tilt it so that the water falls out. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Then we'll rotate, and imaginary water is falling out, and hopefully something else. Yay! Alright, now there's still a little bit of water, but instead of flipping it over, what we're gonna do is use 2 other things. And it's not our chicken friend Paulette, unfortunately. But this lovely thing called a bilge pump, which you put the bottom part, which is here, in where the water is, and then when you pull up, water gets sucked up, and then when I push down, it's gonna come out here. So you wanna make sure you point it at your friend, so that way you can stop them. Woo! But the other way is...
with a sponge. This can be used to get the last little dregs of the water out, if there's any left.
The swim test is a standard Scouting USA requirement. You have to carry the kayak. Shoot, I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. A dry suit is a piece of special